chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMary at the line.
The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
This season marks a new beginning. New heights will be reached. New records will be broken. A new champion will be crowned. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. You're watching the premier American open wheel series on iRacing. The Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by FISCH Medical Equipment starts now.
Last week at Richmond, it was James Grahula doing what he does, work a fuel strategy to perfection to take the win over pole sitter Dan Guerin, who had to fight back from a going green first lap spin. And tonight, presented by FIRST Medical Equipment, the Lionheart IndyCar Series continues its swing through the southeastern United States beneath the halogens and a partly cloudy Tar Heel sky. Charlotte Motor Speedway plays host to the FISCH Motors 200, round 16 of 24 on the Season 6 schedule. And you can see all the action from green flag to victory donuts live as it happens right here on the Global Sim Racing channel via the iRacing Esports Network. From the birthplace of Howard Cosell a full century ago, be that as it may, hello and welcome to GSRC's Countdown to Green, presented by the Sim Pit. As cyberspace flows into your place over the next 15 streamy award-worthy minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to appreciate the simulated IR18 action that will immediately follow as we count down to green for the FISCH Motors 200. I'm Bill Soup Zahn, sharing the microphone with former real-world IndyCar driver Richie Hearn. Amjad Yaman has director's duties, armed with cameras locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. Now, this will be the third time that the Lionheart Series has visited Charlotte Motor Speedway. The last winner here was Joe Hazard, who led 66 laps on the way to victory. The Season 3 event was also the last time league organizer George Anzaldo found himself on a podium after a third-place finish. Now, Charlotte's considered a sister track to Texas Motor Speedway, and it's likely to produce some of the same tight racing that we witnessed just a few rounds ago. Richie, tell us a little bit about Charlotte.
Yeah, thanks, Soup. And folks, before I talk about the track, let me remind you that everything during the Countdown to Green comes courtesy of its sponsor, the Sim Pit. The Sim Pit's an entertainment channel dedicated to sim racing. Its focus is to bring you news, reviews, and information from around the world about sim racing hardware and software. It also focuses on what it takes to be a better sim racer with instructional video and the how-tos that will help your performance on the virtual track. Check it out at thesimpit.com. And speaking of virtual tracks, let's talk about today's venue. Here we are at Charlotte Motor Speedway. This was designed and built in 1959 by its current chairman and NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee Bruton Smith. On June 19, 1960, the first World 600 was contested at the new facility and has established itself as the greatest place to see the race. In addition to the 1.5 mile quad oval, Charlotte Motor Speedway complex includes a 2.25 mile road course, a 6/10 mile karting layout in the Speedway's infield, a 1/4 mile asphalt oval utilizing part of the Speedway's front stretch and pit road, and a 1/5 mile dirt oval located just outside Turn 3. The IndyCar Series did race here for real, and from 1997 to 1999, it was quite a show. This place is pretty easy flat out in IndyCar, but there are some trouble spots to watch out for. The exit of Turn 4, the track flattens out quite quickly, and the two kinks on the front stretch get very tight when running side by side. Also, the pit entry off of Turn 4 and the pit exit off of Turn 2 could be very troublesome if we have some green flag pit stops. The best way to get a view of this track is let's hop on board and take a lap of Charlotte Motor Speedway with another GSRC lap guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin today around the Charlotte Motor Speedway in the GSRC IR18 IndyCar. Without further ado, here we go. Charlotte Motor Speedway, very unique 1.5 mile oval for your hot lap. Kind of float it straight in there. The car is really going to want to push out from that point, but you're going to want to get down to that yellow line and bring it right out here towards the wall. Turn 3 is going to be a little bit tighter of a radius than it was in Turn 1. You get down there, the car really wants to shove out, so the fast time is going to be whoever can keep those left sides planted on the white line. Now, as the run progresses, basically from probably lap 2, you're going to see guys all over the place in Turn 1. You could run 3 cars wide all the way up here by the fence, get a nice hole shot out of the corner, get the sniff of the draft of the guy in front of you, and set up your turn, move into Turn 3. Turn 3 up by the wall is a little sketchier, but you could probably make it work. Bringing it up through there, through the little trioval, across the line, and that's going to complete our track guide here around the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
And it takes about 23.5 seconds to get around Charlotte, and that's how you do it. It's going to take me a little longer to get around the point standings. Let's go ahead and start with the first medical equipment driver standings. If we can do that right now. And Adam Blocker and Andrew Kinsella went into Richmond tied, but came out with Blocker up by 19 on his Adrenaline Motorsports teammate. Brian Yazek moved up a spot for Loud Pedal Motorsports. Dandy Dan Guerin for Synergy Motorsports worked hard for his second place Richmond finish and was rewarded by climbing 2 rungs on the points ladder. Now, Blocker has 5 wins this season. Kinsella and Yazek each have 3, with 1 each for Justin Weaver, James Grahula, Jason Galvin, and Dustin Wardlow. All right, let's go ahead and look at the team championship sponsored by HPP Simulations. Loud Pedal Motorsports is closing out the season not loud, but with a whimper, dropping yet another position after a 9th place finish at Richmond. LPM Sorrow is Dragonfly Racing's joy. A strong 4th place at Richmond was their result, with Chris Lanini in 8th, Matthew Mercer in 11th, Robert Bluen chipping in 21st pace points. Then Dragonfly moved up into 5th. The top 4 teams all hold station with Adrenaline well out in front. Now let's have Richie talk a little bit about the rookies.
Yeah, let's talk about this rookie standings brought to you by the Butt Kicker. No movements in the position here, but Justin Weaver for 8-Ball Motorsports cut the lead in half to gap SRT's Steven Larkamp. Weaver finished third at Richmond, while Larkamp had a rough outing and was third from last. Samuel Ryman is also only 13 points ahead of Brian Beard as he gets the final podium spot at the minute. Not much movement going on, but the points are tightening up there at the front.
Yeah, Larkamp and Weaver, definitely. And this is being an oval, not into Larkamp's wheelhouse, probably favors Weaver more. That's going to be a trite race. We'll continue to follow that as we close out the final third of the season. You know, and this is considered the premier fixed setup racing league for the Dallara IR18 on the iRacing service, and the Lionheart IndyCar Series honors the memory of the late Dan Weldon. Okay, boys and girls, pay attention, because once again, it is time for Professor's Lugnut Setup Corner. Today, the topic is ride height. Now, you might think it's a simple topic, as ride height is just the clearance of the bottom of the race car above the ground. Set it at the garage and you're good to go. But no, apparently there's more to it than that. Professor?
Soup, you're talking about static ride height. Static ride height is almost never the actual ride height of the race car when it's out on the track. Air over the wings create downforce that pushes the car onto the track.
That's the Bernoulli principle, baby. That downforce. Okay, keep going.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you love that thing.
I do.
While springs and shocks counter those effects, the faster the car is going, the greater the force. Bumps on the track as well as the cornering forces also cause changes in the ride height. This leads to the ride height almost constantly changing. As we have talked about extensively, the new IR18 makes use of the underbody work to create most of its downforce. This means that the ride heights are especially important because they have a big effect on the car's handling. The goal of an oval setup is that the car be relatively flat in relation to the road as it goes through the corners. This allows the underside arrow on both sides of the car to be equally effective. In addition to side-by-side forces through the corner, the front-to-back angle or rake of the car is also important. By raising the front of the car, you'll induce a push condition, while raising the rear, the car will induce a loose condition. Setup builders have to have a balance, both the side force and the rake of the car, very carefully in order to make sure the car is not so loose it spins or so tight it pushes into the wall.
Tell me that wouldn't be a great battle of the bands if you went to go see the Bernoulli principle versus haptic immersion. Man, that's a show for you right there. ISEN and GSRC are always picking up new viewers. So for those joining us for the first time, where have you been? Here's Richie to talk about the series details.
And these series details comes to us thanks to the Sim Pit. And we are in Season 6 of the Lionheart IndyCar Series. We're round 16 of 24. They do allow 3 drops for the drivers. They're running the new Dallara IR18. The setups are adjusted but fixed. And we're always working on this cash and prizes totaling $6,402.
Which HPP Simulations getting in a big chunk of that as they're handing out some hardware. Hey, we are through all the advertisements, all of the points, everything's done. We can actually have time to look at a little qualifying going on right now, and they start to come in. Robert Bluen sits at the top for now, but there's only 4 who've posted time so far. There's George Anzaldo.
Yeah, these times are going to drop a little bit at 24.088. I don't think is going to be fast enough to start up front. We have a lot of fast guys getting ready to go out. Not too hard to drive this track, so I think that these times are going to be very close, but you can see they're dropping down as Big Joe's now on the front point.
Richie, we were at Richmond last time where passing was, difficult, to put it lightly. I don't think passing going to be quite as tough here at Charlotte. Am I right?
No, we're going to see pretty much side-by-side racing most of the time, even some 3-wide racing. But I think, like as we've seen in some of the other tracks, like where the bottom lane is going to start getting tough to hold as those tires start to wear out.
Fans of the Lionheart Series recognize that fluorescent blue machine of Chris Lanini, still looking to put in his first time. We call him Sleepy Lanini because he's not always the best qualifier, and ever since I've given him that nickname, he's been proving me wrong. Right now, he puts in a 27th. That's right in there. It's a sleepy performance. Hey, how about there's our race sponsor. We have the onboard camera there, Ron Hacker.
Yeah, right now, Connor Harrington's sitting at the point with Dan Guerin sitting second. just creeping into that 23-second barrier.
If you're fans of the Lionheart Series, you might want to say, who is Connor Harrington? Well, there's a couple newcomers coming in. Connor is one of them, making his series debut today. Welcome to the series and the pole position, at least for now.
Yeah, that is a new name to most of us as well. So he's starting out with a bang, sitting at the point at the moment. We only have a few cars left to run, so he's looking pretty good.
This is interesting. Timing and scoring has the newcomer sandwiching the entire field. Connor Harrington in the very top spot. Mark Cohn, the other newcomer here today, at the very bottom of the standings, yet to put even in a qualifying time down there with Brian Greenlee. It looks like qualifying might be over here as I hear everything is quieting down a bit. So with that said, it's just about time to go racing. And when it is time to go racing, nothing beats the feel of a true hydraulic braking system from HPP Simulations. Now, I don't think there's going to be a lot of braking here at Charlotte tonight, but if you're on a road course, what you want is one of these things that are designed and manufactured in the USA on state-of-the-art CNC equipment. HPP hydraulic pedals and their accessories, and they do have accessories. They also have wheels. Set the standard for simulation racing. For more information, please visit, this is pretty simple, hppsimulation.com. There's no S in there, okay? And with that said, let's go ahead to the HPP starting grid. We have plenty of time. We'll take it a row at a time. It is the newcomer, Connor Harrington, put in a 23.992 inside of Dandy Dan Guerin. Richie?
Yeah, and row 2 is going to be Michael Goodman, and then right next to him is our points leader, Adam Blocker.
Ryan Beard loves an oval. He's in 5th. He's going to be flanked by Justin Weaver.
Next up is going to be Ron Hackard and Brian Yazik.
Jared Nightendagla, he's going to sit in 9th position. Joe Hassard in 10th.
Pierre Daigle and Big Joe Hazard are going to start out in row 5.
That would be, we like them so much, we're going to say them twice. Stefan Larkamp and Chris Stouffer are going to go 11th and 12th. Let's get this right now. Yep, 11th and 12th. Okay, Rich, you get the Baker's dozen spot.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, and 13th at Baker's dozen would be Tony Schoen and Bob Mikas.
That's all right. That means we switch up the order. I get to say Chris Sleepy Lanini is in 15th. All ribbons and curls in the sweet 16th position. That's James Krahula.
Row 9 is going to be Brandon Linkerman and Andrew Kinsella.
Joe Branch and George Anzaldo go 19th and 20th.
Coming up on row 11, that's going to be Samuel Ryman and Ed Tutwiler. Sorry, my data's a little slow.
Slow update in there. I'll keep going here. It's Isaiah Cousin Dupree in the 23rd position. He's going to be flanked by Mitchell Moeller.
Next up is going to be Matthew Mercer and Peter Edwards.
Hard to do this if we can't see the names, right? Tyler Graff and Scott Bolster go 27th to 28th.
And row 15 is going to be Jack Bogan and Robert Bluen.
Then we get back to the 31st position. This is Dylan McKenna and Bart Workman, the rookie.
Coming up in position number 33 is going to be Scott Johnson, and then next to him is going to be Dustin Wardlow.
What is the Candyman doing back in 34th? I got to think he's a sandbagging. Couple newcomers back. Well, one newcomer, Mark Cohen, is going to be in 35th. And our spotlighted driver tonight, after he fell victim to the curse of the spotlighted driver, Brian, it's not easy being Greenlee in 36th position. Keep the car out on the track a little bit, Brian. We'll see if we can spotlight you a little bit. With that said, you can see them all up there. We'll look at our onboard cameras here today. We're going to start first of all with the, that's going to be Brandon Lincoln in the First Medical Equipment onboard camera. They've been the source of First Medical supplies and equipment in the Burlington, Iowa area for years. How about Bob Mikas and the Von Hansen's Meat Machine? VonHansens.com since 1983 has delivered personalized full service in a friendly, old-fashioned meat market environment. And then, of course, we talked about it a little earlier, Ron Hacker and the FISCH Motors onboard camera, the best bet for a Ford in the Walnut, Illinois area. Visit www.fischmotors, that's FISCH Motors.com.
And I think I know why Brian didn't put a time in, because he got an end-of-line penalty. So he must have gotten some post-race penalties from the last event.
And talking about penalties, there are a few people that are still trying to serve a few. Woody Mahan and Vincent Blumenthal are not here today. They're finishing up a 3-race suspension. You know, Ian Adams, we thought he might find some displeasure from the racing stewards. Sure enough, he's been placed on a 3-race suspension, so we'll see him in a little while. And Michael Gray has been giving a 1-race suspension. So it's not the Wild West out there. The Wyatt Earp is around. With that said, it's just about time to go racing. Gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows, because the horses are out of the barn, and it is newcomer. Who is this guy? Connor Harrington leading the Stampede down into the first corner. Dan Guerin, Adam Blocker, Michael Goodman, there's names I know, and Brian Beard round out the top 5.
Yeah, we got Connor Harrington taking the lead with Dan Guerin in second. He started off better this race than the last one, so he's doing good already, but he's got basically Adam Blocker looking to the inside of him. And we're all stacked up here as Connor Harrington's starting to get ganged up on a little bit on the outside lane.
Harrington gets credit for leading the first lap. It didn't take him long to lead his first career lap here in the Lionheart IndyCar Series. Brian Beard, Justin Weaver, Big Joe Hassard, Chris Stouffer, Ron Hacker, your top 10, but really, it's just a pinata full of bees back there as they're lined 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Look like animals going on Noah's Ark.
Yeah, good start, clean start. So everybody's kind of settled down a little bit. I think everybody's going to be able to run pretty closely just like this until those tires start to give up a little bit. And if we can go green, maybe we'll see some green flag pit stops.
Last car in the train really goes back to 16th, James Verhoola back there. Then there's a little bit of gap, but even that is not much as they continue to race. All bunched up. We gotta hope that there are no mistakes here, Richie. And oh my goodness, it's almost getting into Stefan Larkamp. Almost had his race in early a second time. They're so tight, one little mistake could take out a bunch.
Yeah, and Stephen Larkamp can't really afford to have a bad finish again after that race last week. So he's going to have to try to just keep his nose clean and just see how it plays out as we get near the end.
No, he can't. We thought that rookie championship was his for the taking. But my goodness, it has tightened up quite a bit. Let's go ahead now before things really heat up and show you our race analysis, if we could. Show you this, how far we're going, and what our pit window are. Well, it is a nice, I believe we're going 133 laps. Look at that window, about 40. Let's call it 40. It's easier to calculate that way. And then you see those incident points, 12 and 17. But the big numbers, 133 laps with, I'm saying, a 40-lap stint.
Yeah, not much movement up front, but we are starting to get some movement a little bit farther back and basically position 6 through 7 through basically 20.
All right, Richie, on Thursday nights, I have to call the Lotus 79s, and they use those what would be 40-year-old tires that seem to last forever. That's not the case here with the modern rubber on the car. Do you think going down low like Dan Guerin is doing right now, if you race down there, will that use up your rubber?
Oh, yeah, because it's basically the front end. You got to fight it to stay down there, especially when someone's above you, pinching you down. And, everything's going to feel great right now, but as we found at some of the other ovals that are designed like this, that eventually they kind of give up a little bit and you can't hold it down and stay flat out. So tires are going to be a key. We might see that come into a strategy as we get near the end, as we saw before.
And then, of course, when the fuel load lightens up, I guess the cars will be faster, but are they necessarily easier to drive?
No, it shouldn't affect the car that much.
Okay.
As far as the balance of the car. It's more or less the tires. And I mean, you want to be on the bottom like Dan Guerin's doing. You got to want to make that guy go around the outside. But, it will force him to use up his tires a little bit more. But that's going to be the preferred spot as we get a little bit farther into this run.
Right now, Guerin hugging the inside like a tight pair of Fruit of the Looms. He's got that newcomer, Connor Harrington, on the outside. Couple guys who probably don't know each other. Harrington probably doesn't know about the bad luck that's following Guerin everywhere he goes. Guerin's got to be a little bit worried. He's racing somebody he doesn't know, but boy, Harrington seems to be fast. Looks like Guerin's going to get credit for leading this lap. Yes, he does.
Yeah, and these guys running side by side. There's nowhere for Adam Blocker or Chris Stouffer to go. You can see they're kind of hanging out back there. And right now, you're just going to honestly take it easy. It doesn't matter if you lead this lap or not. You just want to stay out of trouble and then start figuring out your fuel strategy if we keep going green like we are.
Well, I think with this opportunity to drop back to 4th position, talk about a hard charger, Chris Stouffer. He's managed to pass some people, and I said 4th. Well, let's call that 3rd now, as he just went around Adam Blocker. My goodness, Chris Stouffer started in 12th. He is up, do the math, 9 spots already.
Yeah, he got one hell of a start too, and so he's definitely cleared Adam Blocker pretty easily. He's got those other 2 in front of him. So, but there's nowhere for him to go. Those guys are breaking away a little bit, but I don't think we're going to have too much of that.
Looking back here, this is Beard. This battle for 7th position or 8th position, depending on when you look at it. Beard in 8th. Weaver back there in 9th. Tony Schowen coming in. Schowen in that beautiful white and red Lionheart painted car. Right behind the familiar Moby Dicky machine of Justin Weaver. Weaver now looking to the inside.
Oh, Weaver got a great run through turns 1 and 2 there as they come down that back straight, and it's going to allow basically Justin Weaver to make up that position. So that was a really good run off of turn 2.
Yeah, he got Beard and Big Joe and moved Moby Dicky's car up into 7th.
Yeah, it's all momentum. I mean, we're all pretty much flat out, but as those tires wear, you might be better off breathing it a little bit on the throttle and then let it turn and then go instead of just scrubbing those front tires all the way through the corner.
Love that camera shot when they're coming at you. You can see Dan Garrett continuing to race the low line through the corners. He will not surrender the inside to Harrington. We'll see how that works out. They're only 16 laps into the stint. We'll see how that plays out as it gets a little farther along.
Yeah, another big mover here is Andrew Kinsella. Started 18th. He didn't qualify good at Richmond either, but he made his way up to the front, and he's kind of doing the same thing here. He's a pretty smart driver, so I think he knows what he's got to do. He's got his main rival up there, Adam Blocker, in 4th, so he's got to get up there as soon as he can.
Plenty of time for Havaketch to work through the field. Right now he's looking to go around the outside of that car. That's Ron Hacker, the Synergy car.
And you can see how Ron Hacker, he's down at the bottom. He's starting to pinch it off. And, as you do that, even though you're flat out, you're turning the wheel a little bit more, and it's all about scrubbing that speed. So Andrew's moved up a lane, is able to carry that momentum and go right around the outside.
I drive a old Ford Escape, boy, and I love it, but when it's time to give one up, if I was in the Illinois area there, the Walnut, Illinois, I'd be going to FISCH Motors to get my car, get a new one. Krahula back there in 14th position, that yellow car, ahead of Joe Branch. Oh, look at Joe. If we can get a picture of Joe Branch, he's got the racing in the number 28 machine with that Texaco. Reminds me of the
Mario Andretti.
There you go.
Michael Andretti. He even has the helmet painted the same.
Ah, that's beautiful.
Everybody up front, single file, kind of spread out. Not much going on in the top 5 here. Do have a decent battle going with Michael Goodman and Justin Weaver. Justin's been trying pretty hard to get by Goodman, but hasn't been able to make it happen. And these guys are all nose to tail. I think you're going to see people like how Andrew's making his passes, just taking that high line and keeping the momentum going.
Based on what we've seen early on, all you little soldiers in Clip Support Army, mark this name down, Chris Stouffer. I think he's a guy to watch. Looks like his car can go places that the other ones can't. He's comfortable going high, going low. He's picked up a bunch of spots. Kind of found his level, though, now as he got up to Harrington and Garrett.
If we do get some green flag pit stops, as I pointed out at the beginning, I was watching some of these guys in practice coming out of the pits, and they were crashing a lot. It's really hard to get on the gas on the flat part of the oval as you're exiting the pits, and so that might cause a couple of incidents that they're not planning on as we get a little farther here through the race.
A couple of blue cars we're looking at there. That's Blocker ahead of Yazik. Yazik in that familiar HPP machine. Oh, Bob Mikas just glanced it off the wall, but he's okay. We don't need to go there. Bob's back in oh my goodness, 17th. I'm looking my timing and scoring. Stefan Larkamp working down below. I'm scoring him in I guess, well, maybe 15th or so. Yeah, Larkamp is 12th for some reason, so my timing and scoring might be a little off.
as you can see in that shot we were just showing there, you can see how everybody's starting to spread out. They're not able to run nose to tail. So I think we're getting to that point in the run. We're at 24 laps, go about 40, let's say, and everybody's starting to move up the grid, start running that right along the wall, try to free that car up a little bit.
Meanwhile, out there cooking with hot fish grease is Dan Guerin. He's now opened it up. Seems like a big gap here, a whole second over Connor Harrington. Not what I expected with Guerin running that low line. I expected his car to go away from him. Not the case so far. As we're halfway through a fuel stint, more than halfway, 25. I figure we can only go 40, so won't be that much farther. There's those blue cars again. Blocker being chased by Yazik.
Yeah, there's just nowhere to go for Yazik right now. He's having a good run so far. Started 8th, up to 5th position. Nobody's out of the race so far, so everybody's kept it clean. If we keep going this way, we should be getting some lap traffic not too far from now. I don't know how far away Dan Guerin is, but man, he is checking out. He's doing a great job watching his line. He's just being nice and smooth. He's able to open up the exits and just nothing's bothering him right now.
Nope. We're looking there at P6. On the inside there, you see that is Michael Goodman. There's Joe Hassard. The leader of that group is Yazik. Yazik falling back a little bit after Blocker. Adams decided to pick it up a bit. Oh, yeah. Look on the top side of Hassard. He'll have a run.
Yeah, I don't know if Brian Yazik used up his tires a little. He was behind basically Adam for so long, and maybe he had to kind of ease off the gas to get a little bit of breathing space and allow these guys to catch up.
Boy, Kinsella, every time I check on him, he's picked up another spot. He's now up in the 10th position. There he is. Remember, he is our second in points, and he's racing Adam Blocker, who's up in 4th right now. So it's early days, but we keep an eye on Kinsella.
Yeah, he's done a pretty good job, but he's got a pretty big gap up to Tony Schowen. He has closed it up. I've been watching that a little bit, but you can see that line that Andrew's running. He's running a full groove higher than everybody else, and I think that's just keeping the momentum up, being a little easier on his tires, and it's allowed him to creep up on Tony.
Well, for whatever reason, Tyler Groff has decided to make a stop on lap 30, lap 29, a little early for him. Unless he's doing the math, maybe he's figured out, count backwards, maybe he can figure he can do it from here on, what would be like maybe 3 more stops.
Yeah, it's a little early, I think. Yep. I mean, if we go green the whole way, I'll eat my shoe. So, I think I would just hang in there. Unless you got some sort of problem, like you bumped the wall, you're just better off hanging in there, pitting when the leaders pit, and you just got to stay on that lead lap.
Yeah, we're looking at Michael Goodman. Oh, our leader, Harrington, he was in second. He's pitting from second, so Harrington is in.
Well, there might be something that we don't know. I mean, I'm still surprised at that because he's going to go a lap down. And then if the yellow, I don't know. We'll see how this plays out, but I'm a little surprised.
Bob Mikas joins him as well. He's up. He's taking tires.
Yeah, you're going to take tires every time because it takes longer for the fuel. So it's going to come out. This is where you got to watch it a little bit as it comes around this bend as they try to get on the gas. It's really tricky because there's no help in the banking. You try to pick up that. You see him get a little bit sideways there. You got to get out of that blue line.
I was just watching the Candyman. Dustin Wardlow was bringing it in the pits. His car is blinking, and now he's rolling again. He actually stopped on pit lane while he blinked a little bit. He found a spot. Hopefully that connection will hold up.
Just watching the leader here. Dan Guerin still going around, coming into turn 3, into 4. Doesn't look like he's going to pit just yet, so he's taking it right to the end. He's got a huge gap, too, to Adam Blocker.
Harrington cycled out in 32nd position. He's the leader of all cars 1 lap down. He's now working on the inside of Chris Lanini. His car's going to be faster, I guess, with new tires. I would assume new tires and a full fuel loader is still going to be faster than old tires and light fuel, and sure it is. He leaves Lanini behind. Harrington has got to be worried that the yellow doesn't come out between now and maybe the next 5 laps. Chris Stouffer comes in. Remember, he was the guy that was on the move. This will be interesting to see how Stouffer comes out in relationship to Harrington, because Stouffer was third, Harrington was second.
Yeah, I'm still surprised these guys are pitting so early. I mean, I would be doing what Dan's doing right now at least the first stint, and just taking it right to the limit. I mean, there's no reason to come in. I mean, even if you shorten up those last pit stops, you're still going to take tires.
Stouffer is rolling. Harrington is long gone. So the leaders of all the cars who've pitted, it's still the newcomer Connor Harrington.
Dan Guerin's in. Leaders in the pit road.
Pitting at lap 37. Usually they lie to us. They said they go 38, 39 laps. I said 40. Looks like 38, baby, is it. Keep that number. Again, you little soldiers at home, mark it down. That makes our leader now, I guess it's Adam Blocker.
The key is going to be to see what the Connor Harrington just almost had a big moment with, I don't know who that was, but this is going to be the key to see where Connor comes out in relation to Dan. Dan had about a almost 2 second lead to Connor before he pitted.
Harrington across the line right now, and there's Guerin, still does not have it up on the track. Harrington's gone. Harrington's by him. Now the question is, will Guerin get out in front of Stouffer? And he does. So before the pit stop, it was Guerin, Harrington, and Stouffer. After the pit stop, it's Harrington, Guerin, and Stouffer.
Yeah, looking at the lap times right now, Adam Blocker's still out there. He's running around 24.8 seconds, whereas Connor Harrington is running around 24.3 seconds. So there's definitely a speed time to make up, about a half a second. So that's the difference between him and Dan Guerin at the moment.
That explains why Harrington was able to get that gap, because he came in early, ran those faster laps. Of course, it's a pay me now, pay me later type thing. Eventually, Rumpelstiltskin's going to come for the baby, and Harrington's lap times are going to slow down because his tires are a little older. Right now, Harrington in 21st position, as we look there at James Krahula coming in, just got around Justin Weaver, who continues to stay out. Blocker comes in. I believe that's going to turn it over either to Woodman or to Michael Goodman, I guess. Goodman and Weaver are new leaders for the time being. Good.
Yeah, Goodman's the leader at the moment. I don't know. He's still going around. He's not coming in this lap. Otherwise, he's not going to make it. Well, he is going to make it. So there we go. So Justin Weaver goes around one more time.
That's right.
And they must have been lifting quite a bit in that pack. So he's going to be going 43 laps on this stint.
Moby Dicky machine out there. Getting some good fuel mileage as he's able to put in 43 laps. We're looking at Connor now. Yeah, they're good. Connor Harrington and ahead of Dan Guerin. That's the way it should be, because Harrington was running those fast laps because he pitted early. But Guerin is coming.
Yeah, Dan Guerin, I was just going to say, he's chased him down, and he's going to get him pretty quickly here. Honestly, if I was Dan, I would just sit there and ride behind him, try to save some more fuel, save my tires. But obviously, we were wrong on that pit strategy. Coming in a little bit early was definitely faster.
Early on, but he's going to have to pay for it his entire run. Weaver cycles out in 8th position. And the whole group going around. Now here's the pass for the lead. Is Dandy Dan going to look to the top?
Yeah, Connor Harrington's going to make him go the long way around, and it's right down on that white line, making Dan going around the outside. He should get a good run off here, a little bit of draft. Coming down the back straightaway, he's going to be side by side. See if he can get this done. Well, yeah, he does. He's going to chop him right off and take that spot just like he did earlier on.
Coming out of 4 across the start-finish line right now. Let's give credit, leading lap number 45 to Dan Guerin, working lap number 46. Connor Harrington's got about 2.5 seconds back to Chris Stouffer.
You can see up in front of, a little bit while ago on the shot, you see in front of Dan Guerin, he's got a lot of traffic coming up. So we're going to start mixing it up with some of the back markers, and that might change things up. These guys, Guerin and Connor Harrington, they have a huge gap on Christopher, who's still running third, doing a great job, at almost 3-second gap to him.
Let's quickly go to 5th position. This is Adam Blocker with a run from on the top side. Is Big Joe Hassard. Wasn't able to finish it, but Hassard's coming. If he doesn't get it this time, he's going to get him down the front straight next time around. Watch Big Joe. That car working well up on top. He's going to tuck him behind, get a good run.
Yeah, I think
should have the momentum here.
Yeah, you kind of need to get a little bit closer side by side before you can get that pass done as you go to the corner, because obviously as you go in the corner, you're going the longer way around, so you lose that track position. But Big Joe's, if he can get a good run, kind of dip down, take the draft, and basically that's how Dan Garen got around Connor Harrington.
Dan Garen now coming up on some lap traffic. It is our spotlighted driver, Brian. It's not easy being Greenlee in 31st position.
Yeah, as we see on screen, we got Joe. Now Joe's got the inside, and he's trying to make that pass, but Andrew's not making it easy. So Andrew's moved up top, and now he's got the momentum. So once again, we're getting it seems like about 10 laps in. That outside lane seems to be the best way to get around.
But Blocker able to fend off Hassard. Let's go to our spotlighted driver as he's gone a lap down now, and that is Brian Greenlee. We'll bring up those numbers for you. Brian's been around for a while. There you see 27 starts. A lot of zeros down there. Doesn't have a pole position yet. Career wins, well, none of those yet. Top 5's not yet, but there's one coming. And how about this? 2 top 10s. His first race was at Pocono back in Season 5. That spotlighted driver brought to you by the Sim Pit. Man, if you haven't checked out the Sim Pit, you got to. That's a good little program they got going on over there. Sean Cole, the man in charge.
Yeah, and Andrew Kinsella's now past Bob Mikas, moving up to 7th spot. He's got a big gap up to Big Joe, but he's steadily moving forward. I'd like to point out that, man, Dan Garen is on fire. He has left Connor Harrington the dust. And so even though he lost that position on the pit stops, he is now 1.7 seconds ahead of Connor.
And there is Garen right now, putting a lap on another car. Boy, you found the battle, though. 8th place is really where it's happening right now. Mikas, Goodman, and Justin Weaver. This is for 8th, 9th, and 10th. Weaver, the 3rd car in line, going low. Up on top, that's Mikas and the Von Hansen's onboard camera car.
Yeah, Bob, just not that long ago, was up ahead of Andrew Kinsella, so I don't know if he's got a problem. He's fading, and he's just getting swallowed up by, now as Justin Weaver goes by, Michael Goodman went by, Andrew Kinsella goes by, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's got some damage, but he's struggling in the middle part of this run.
Well, I did see Bob glance it off the wall earlier in the race, so maybe the car's not feeling that well, although there was a pit stop between now and then. He seems to be running that top line pretty well. Mind you, Kinsella was just through those guys, was able to break the draft, left them behind. Kinsella's got about 3 seconds to get up to Joe Hassard. And Richie, Blocker's in 5th, Kinsella's in 7th. So those guys, they always seem to find each other. Won't be long.
Yeah, I mean, Adam's always qualifying up front. Andrew's had to do the chasing, but he's done a great job in the last couple races, especially at Richmond with how hard it was to get by anybody and survive. He did a great job getting up to the front like he did. Justin Weaver fighting off Bob Mikas here. Bob's kind of finding his pace again as he kind of puts the Band-Aid on the bleeding. He lost about 3 or 4 positions. Started 14th. He's running 9th, so that's good, but he was a little bit farther up. Justin Weaver started 6th, running 10th, so he's fallen down a little bit. But good battles here up front. Everybody's kind of spread out, not much going on, and we're just kind of riding this one through.
Bob Mikas making his 60th career start tonight. Most of those sponsored by Von Hansen's Meat. And everybody loves that helmet. Boy, they continue to work. While that's going on, let me check and see who our hard charger is. The last time I checked, it was Christopher. That's not the case now. Maybe give a little love to the driver in 15th, Scott Bolster. Right now he's behind our top rookie, Stefan Larkamp. Bolster, 28th to 15th.
Yeah, he's definitely a hard charger, but right behind him is Brian Beard, who started 5th and now running 16th. So he's struggled a little bit here at the beginning. He got swallowed up at the start a little bit, but see if he can find his pace and get back up to the top 10. Andrew Cassell, also another hard charger, has moved up 11 spots from 18th to 7th. He's been steadily moving up. He's kind of lost track of Big Joe, so there's about pretty big gap. Looks like about 8-second gap. No, sorry. 2-second gap. Sorry, 2-second gap. It looks like more on the screen, that's for sure.
Yeah, it does look big.
Yeah, but at these speeds, I mean, they're doing 220 miles an hour, 225 going down the backstretch. So it does look big on the screen, but it's not much on the clock.
You know, we talked about the battle, big pictures talking here of the battle between Kinsella and Blocker, but the other one we've been tracking is the rookie battle, and here we have it again. And Richie, you get to call this one every race. Justin Weaver in 9th position right now, and Stefan Larkamp struggling on an oval back in 14th. So here comes the Moby Dickey's car.
Yeah, he's doing well. Justin Weaver does well on these ovals, and Steven, like last week was a little bit of bad luck. He just caught up in a wreck that wasn't his doing, but he qualified badly, and that kind of put him in that position. So he's got to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit, because I think the next race we go to is a road course, and that's a little bit more Steven Larkamp's alley.
Well, they've wait a minute, I heard a little bit of a spin here going on. Let's go to Brian Yosick right now. Maybe just when I started to say, maybe 30 seconds ago, and now we have a caution. No, it was not Yosick. It was Chris Lanini. Yosick almost lost the car. Now, as I was looking at that, Lanini's car goes in the wall and brings out the yellow. There's Chris. Ouch.
Yeah, it looked like probably a hardware problem, as it just kind of went straight left. That's not usually a problem on the straightaways here. So as he comes out of the corner, and here he goes, just over to the left, and yeah, that's looks like more of a hardware problem than a mistake. Yep.
And now we'll see if we can get Yosick. This one scared me here if we have it. As he goes around the outside of the yellow car, this car gets really sideways. Oh, actually, he got the wall. Yeah, you can see how much. You see how much steering angle. I think that was Krahula, right? I think you can see how much steering angle Krahula had, and he just washed up. It was a yellow car. Looked like Krahula, but we don't think it was. Oh, I can tell you exactly who it was. It was Ed King Tutwiler in that yellow car that got into him. Looks a lot like Krahula's car. All right, now it should be pit stop time, and sure enough. Yeah, I think everybody's going to come in, and we are far enough in the run. We'll just be back on the same pit strategy for everybody. This was good news for Harrington, because our director was just about to take us up to that battle for second. Stouffer was running him down. So now we'll see here with, my goodness, we're at the halfway mark. This is very appropriately timed. And we got our first yellow, so I don't have to eat my shoe. That's good. I was hoping it was like a shark skin shoe or something to have a little flavor to it. All right, with that going on, what we'll do right now is take a short break, but we'll be back before we go green.
SimPit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The SimPit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for the SimPit.
Like Joel Walsh joining the Eagles, making a great band even greater, GSRC joins the iRacing Esports Network band of broadcasters to bring you this live as it happens coverage of the FISCH Motorsports 200 from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Round 16 to 24 on the Season 6 schedule. We're currently under yellow, working just past the halfway mark of this 132-lap event. If you are in the Walnut, Illinois area and are in the market for a Ford, shopping can be quick and easy with a simple visit to www.fishmotors.com. That's FISCH Motors.com. You can search for new and used vehicles, motorcycles, and even golf carts. Set up service appointments and much more all in one place. Fishmotors.com. Tell them Soup sent you. The pace car is in. And we're about to go back to green again, and it is Dan Guerin leading the field. It's pretty much the way we left it. Guerin, Harrington, Stouffer. That's how they raced before the pit stop. Yazik and Big Joe Hassard round out your top five. Blocker is in sixth. Kinsella is in seventh. Richie, we said it wouldn't be long till those two found each other.
I know that yellow flag helped Andrew a lot as it closed that gap up. We got a huge battle up here up front. As Dan Guerin's on the bottom, Connor Harrington's on the outside, but right behind them in the next row is Christopher and Brian Yazik. In the next row, Big Joe, Adam Blocker, and Andrew Constella.
Stouffer kind of pinned in trying to make hay while the sun shines. While the tires are good, he's really fast, but he has nowhere to go as Harrington has him pinned behind Guerin. Now there's two cars coming at you, Dan. You can't guard them both. Guerin continues to keep the car low.
Yeah, Dan's been really fast. So if I was Christopher, I would just stay right on behind him, and as you know, he pulls away, just kind of stay in his draft. He's gonna. Ooh, I thought he was gonna try to squeeze up at that moment, try to squeeze up Connor, but he smartly just lifted.
Guys are getting young runs. Yazik had a great run from fourth, but again, ran out of width of track. There's just nowhere to make the car three wide. Again, watch Yazik now. He has a good run in the brightly fluorescent blue HPP machine, but with Harrington guarding the top and Stouffer guarding the low spot, nowhere to put it. Ducking to the inside now is Blocker looking on the inside. That won't do. Here comes Havaketch. Havaketch on the top side. He goes around Blocker. The point leaders racing. Second position, first position right there.
Yeah, Andrews made really good use of that high line all race long, so he's just sticking with it. And he's able to keep the momentum. Meanwhile, Christopher, he really wants to get by Connor Harrington because he's got the momentum to, I think, to get by Dan, but he can't quite make the pass finish here.
Now Harrington tucks in behind Guerin. He has a run. Momentum to the top side. They're going to punch a huge hole. Watch out for Stouffer. Harrington goes to the top. He's not going to be able to have the momentum. This is going to make a huge hole for Stouffer, but unfortunately, again, there will just not be enough track for Stouffer to put it anywhere. Coming across the line, it's going to be the inside line of Dan Guerin. Is he using up his rubber? We'll find out.
And he's shown that he's able to run strong all stint long, so I think he knows what he's doing. Connor Harrington got the lead just by pitting a little bit earlier, but Dan chased him down and kind of just blew him off as we went going. That yellow flag also helped out Brian Yazik. So I noticed when he got in the wall a little bit, he had a little wing damage. So that helped him get that car fixed and hold on to that fourth position.
Continue to look. Guerin covering the inside like wall-to-wall carpet. Just will not let anybody get under him.
You can see how he's getting a little bit of separation now from Connor Harrington. And Christopher's moved up to that high side, so he's trying to stay in the draft of Connor. But just as I say that, here comes Connor getting a run once again, going into one, but he just can't quite get the pass done. Right behind them, Justin Weaver was real close to almost got into Andrew Kinsella there. So Justin Weaver's trying to get by Andrew. That's our basically chasing down for he's our rookie points second place, so he's looking good right now as Stephen Larkamp's still down back in 12th.
Yeah, I think Steven's probably a little wiser right now. In fact, Steven gets past Bob Mikas, goes around him on the top side, so moving down the third. Look at that view. It is just side by side all the way back. Let's ride on board with Brandon Limkeman right now on the first medical equipment onboard camera, racing in 20th. Not a bad place to be, Brandon. Richie, I got the feeling that the drivers, that the cars are feeling good on the fresher rubber right now, and they're being more courageous. I'd be surprised if this holds up for the whole stint.
Well, we've kind of seen that pitting a little bit early is better as far as lap time goes. I mean, once again, I'm impressed with how Dan was able to chase Connor, but he definitely lost the lead. So we'll kind of see how that goes. We're 14 laps into this stint. We'll see if that strategy plays out again, if Dan comes in early or if he stays out.
Connor, with a huge run down the backstretch, was able to carry it all the way around. He's about a half car length behind as they come across the line. Now he has momentum into 1 and 2, but like Richie said, it's longer way around. Then he ducks underneath. Can he just get below? Boy, Garen will not leave that inside door to open. That's the lap car of Brian Greenlee, just doing what he does. They get around him. Just coming out of the pits.
Yeah, and just earlier, Connor Harrington couldn't have been any closer to the back of Dan Guerin as he was trying to get that run going into coming off of 4, I believe it was a lap or 2 ago. And he's trying hard, but he just can't quite get it done, as Dan will not give up that bottom lane.
Big picture racing, Kinsella ahead of Blocker as they come across. Kinsella working lap 83.
Yeah, and we also missed how Justin Weaver, he was behind Andrew Kinsella, and he's moved up past Brian Yazik. He's all the way up to 4th position, so he made some moves that we missed out there. But he's right now basically right behind looks like the lap car of Brian Greenlee, so he's getting a little bit of tow. So see if he can chase down Chris Stouffer.
Yeah, I think that is Stouffer. He's behind right now. I think he's looking underneath. This is for position.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
you're right.
Weaver gets it.
He just blew by him. I think we saw this a little earlier. Chris Stouffer struggled a little bit partway through the run, and kind of found his mojo a little bit farther down. I think part of it, I haven't driven this car on this track in a long time, but part of it is just learning how to breathe the throttle at the right time so you don't kill those tires.
Bad news for Stefan Larkamp, our rookie leader, is Weaver. The man he's trying to stay in front of is in 3rd. Larkamp back in 14th. Good news for Stefan. We're going to Phillip Island next, so you can get some points there as you are so much better on those twisty courses.
Yeah, that should be an exciting race with these cars. Meanwhile, Dan Guerin has started to separate himself from Connor Harrington like he's done before. And now Connor Harrington's got basically Justin Weaver looking to the inside, trying to go by him for 2nd position.
Yes.
Yeah, here he goes.
Goodness.
Yeah, going on the inside here again. And, Connor's gone up to the high side. Justin's still working the low side, so his tires are working pretty good. I mean, if you could run the low side without too much scrub, you're definitely taking the shortest distance around the track.
Stouffer in 4th. Weaver in 3rd. Harrington in 2nd. Honestly, there have been no comers or goers. Those guys have been up there for most of the race. We documented Stouffer's run early. He came from 12th, got to 3rd in just a few laps, and that's where he's been hanging out. Kinsella has been making a nice run. We saw him farther back, now sitting in 6th.
Yeah, started 18th and 6th. He's lost a little bit of separation between him and Brian Yazik. He's got a couple of lap cars in between him. as Brian goes to the high side here, and I think that's Brian Greenlee going by him. So those fresh tires are starting to show a little bit of speed to these leaders who haven't pitted yet.
Greenlee is actually 2 laps down, but doing his best to stay out of the way as he goes around. Another car coming out. That's Mark Cohn just coming out of pit lane. He's making his debut here in the series. Welcome, Mark.
And we do still have 26 cars on the lead lap, so we got a healthy amount of cars still able to run with that group. We can get another yellow flag and pack them all back up.
Let's go to 11th, the driver who has not had a lot of attention. This is Isaiah Cousin Dupree. He's in a battle. Down below him is Scott Bolster. Little blinking going on from Dupree. Dupree on the top side, and we have an issue. Let's look at Big Joe Hassard. Oh, he just glanced it off the wall as I spoke. He keeps it going straight. This happens right in front of James Grahula.
Yeah, it's coming off turn 4, like I pointed out at the beginning. The track really flattens out really quickly right here, so if you get up a little too high, if you start high, it doesn't recover, and so you just glance the wall a little bit. Andrew Kinsella is holding off Andrew Blocker here. These guys are battling pretty hard. They got a lap car in between them.
And we're back live. Grahula now moving up into 9th. There he is. Bolster, Dupree. And then another car we haven't talked about, Tony Schowen back there. All right, P2. My goodness, I think he's got him this time.
Ooh, he's so high up there. Connor Harrington almost hit the wall. I mean, he couldn't get any higher. And basically running that Kyle Busch line up there. Yep. But, Connor's struggling a little bit right now. And right behind them, you can see the difference in new tires and old tires as Chris Stover's getting swallowed up by these cars that are a couple laps down but have pitted early. Also right behind them is, I believe it's the Mark Cohen. I saw him go by Andrew Kinsella after he pitted. So we might see these guys starting to make a decision on coming into the pits.
Looking off the back there and the passes being made, I want to point out that once Weaver got around those guys, got around Harrington, he left him behind, and he's right on the back now as Harrington gets underneath Tutwiler.
I think you're going to see Connor Harrington pit pretty soon. He looks like he's struggling right now as he's falling back. Dan Guerin and Justin Weaver, they were out for a long time on that first run. They were able to, Justin Weaver did, 43 laps. Yep. They seemed to kind of find a good groove out there without wearing the tires out. But Connor, like I say, him and Christopher are struggling mightily right now.
Well, a good indication, like you were talking about, is Robert Bluen, who's coming up on these guys. I would imagine Bluen is on fresher rubber, and he's hanging with them. Bluen, a lap, how many laps? 1 or 2 laps down, perhaps.
Yeah, and I believe if you also look, here comes going by Connor Harrington is our newcomer, Mark Cohen. He just blew right by him, so you can see the difference in new tires. So, like I say, I think you're going to see some of these guys pit.
Yeah, Owen's 2 laps down in 31st position. So, how long can Guerin and Weaver stay out there? If you're one of the guys like Harrington, Stover, Yazek, Kinsella, come on in now, do the undercut.
Yeah,
here they come.
Well, yeah, and I think if you can get to lap 100, pit, then you only have to do 33 laps for the last stint. I think that's kind of what they're trying to figure out. So and Connor Harrington's coming in too. So, and also he's bringing Chris Stouffer with him.
Uh-oh, I heard a car. It was Larkamp. It was a car that was pitting. Joe Branch was trying to pit, and the Pennsylvania student Stefan Larkamp got into the back of him. The blue car is Larkamp. The black car, oh my goodness, was Branch. And he Velcros himself in the fence.
Yeah, that's 2 bad races in a row for Steven, so I know he's not going to be happy, but he will be happy that we're going to a road course next. So that yellow flag came out as Connor and Stouffer were all in the pit lane. So we'll see how this kind of shakes out as the leaders pit.
I think it may work in their favor. I think they'll be able to get this pit stop in without going a lap down. I think. And then when the leaders come in, I think they're going to get it. Let's see.
Yeah, that was just a bad wreck. That was just unfortunate. I don't know if Joe said he was pitting or not, but, Stephen Larkamp, as you just saw in the replay, just had nowhere to go.
Okay, as they get this sorted out, let's see. Harrington is shown. Oh, he's behind the leaders.
He's behind leaders, but he's going to inherit the lead as those guys come in. So this is going to work out for him.
No, I don't think so. I think he's a lap down. I think he's in 20th, so he's going to get pinned behind the car. Is he the leader of all the cars that took that stop? The other one would be Stouffer. Stouffer's there too. So they're not right now they race in 20th and 21st position. Boy, they just missed getting out in front of Guerin and Weaver. Just missed it. If they would have got out in front.
Yeah, I think you're right. If they got out in front, they would have cycled to the front. But
yeah, so close.
They're still going to be able to. They're still going to be on the lead lap because when Dan comes out, pace car will pick him up, and then these guys will cycle around. But he's now going to have to fight with all the people in front of him.
All right, with that said, I guess we'll take a second break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Don't go far, though, because we'll be back before we go green to bring you the final 33 laps of racing. Please stay tuned. The Sim Pit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The Sim Pit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for The Sim Pit. iRacing Esport Network is the chocolate. The Global Sim Racing Channel is the peanut butter. That tasty combination brings you live as it happens coverage of the FISCH Motors 200 from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Round 16 to 24 on the Season 6 schedule. We're currently under yellow, working lap number 103. See if I can get this in before we go green. HPP is awarding a Formula Racing wheel valued at just under $1,500 to the season champion. SLI Pro display, 12-position rotary display, momentary push buttons, two-way toggle switches, rotary and corded tactile feedback, integrated paddle shifters. My good, you name it, they got it. Check it out at hppsimulation.com, and we are back to green. And here's what's up. Dan Guerin is your leader. Justin Weaver is in second. You may want to ask, well, what happened to Harrington and Stouffer? They came out just behind the leaders. They are at the very back of the pack right now.
And we got Brian Yazik trying to muscle his way past Justin Weaver and Andrew Kinsella. So Justin Weaver's getting muscled out here as Brian Yazik's looking to make. Oh, he hit the back of Dan Guerin. Almost got him spun out as they went through a little bit of kink on the front stretch.
Now, when it comes to protecting the inside, if there is an inch, Yazik will take it. Guerin has got to keep that car low. Looking to put his car in the middle is Andrew Casella back there racing on the inside, 3 cars back on the inside line. Weaver on the top side. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the way this race is going, we only have, 27 laps to go or so. This is the final sprint, so you can see these. Oh, we got a car up in the wall, right up on the outside of turn 1 and 2. I don't know who it is, but he's
Scott Bolster.
Yep, no yellow flag, but he got sent up there.
Going to look at the replay. I think he got pushed up.
Yeah, I think he was trying to
Michael
go
Goodman.
pretty wide.
Stay green.
Yeah, he stayed green. He's, caution's
it's
out.
Robert Bluen. Inside of James Krahula. And it was the lap car that scared him. Don't know who it was because it went by so fast. That was Scott Bolster. That's exactly who it was, Director. Thank you very much. Bolster was almost standing still down on the bottom. That was part of what we saw earlier.
Yeah, then it looks like Robert Bluen just kind of had a panic step on the brake, and he just got loose and just not a lot of room. So one incident caused the yellow flag for the other incident. So this is a good move for good yellow flag for Connor Harrington because he's all the way stuck back in 19th spot. So
it is.
This is going to allow him. I did notice that Chris Stouffer has now gotten past Connor Harrington. So our guys that were originally 2nd and 3rd are now 18th and 19th. But, they got a chance.
Well, what it did allow them to do, though, even though they didn't pick up a ton of positions, allowed them just to get a few of those lap cars out of the way. There was an interesting dynamic going on up front with Guerin on the low side and Weaver trying to go around the top side, but he really couldn't leave a whole lot of room because Yazik was looking to put the car in the middle there. So it was interesting as Weaver was almost trying to protect the middle line.
Yeah, I mean, Yazik was really aggressive to start. You could see he ran into the back of Dan slightly, and then Andrew also Kinsella was getting into the mix, so we're starting to heat up. Hopefully we can maybe not get a bunch of yellow flags and just kind of race it to the end as we're really close.
Now they were only out there for about 5 laps of racing angrily. The rest were under the caution flag. I just don't think there's enough that even the guys in the back probably won't want to come in and top off. Daigle does. A few of them are going to come in. I guess you're at the very back.
Yeah, and you're very back. You might as well take tires. It doesn't make any difference. But these guys up front, we haven't run enough. I know Dan won't because he's been fast the whole time.
And the words top off just came out of my mouth by habit. Of course, they're not going to top off. What we're talking about coming in and getting some fresh tires. It'll be about, they'll top off their tires. Yeah, top off the rubber. That's what they're doing. So they'll have, some of these guys are going to have a little quicker. Showen came in. And Zaldo came in as well. These guys are all at the back of the lead lap, and Zaldo the last car on the lead lap. There's 24 of them. 24 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's impressive. Still 24 cars on the lead lap. I think Dan's got this covered unless something happens. I think the battle is going to be for that 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th position. I think Justin Weaver, he's a rookie, so he has those guys behind him that know how to race pretty hard, and that'll be interesting to see how this start goes.
Lights are still on the pace car. I hope you're enjoying our broadcast here on the Global Sim Racing Channel, courtesy via the iRacing Esports Network. We brought you a lot of action. We had our Countdown to Green show with all those features. I hope you enjoyed the Professor Lugnut setup corner where we talked about ride height. I have an interesting story about ride height. It involves our GSRC family member, Sean Crackers Ambrose. Of course, he's on a severe diet to lose some weight. I believe he's working on 80 pounds as we speak of now, and that's just over about 4 months. He changed locations, and when he got to his new location, he drove down the driveway, and actually the car bottomed out as it tried to go into the driveway. The only way for him to get the car into the driveway because of the ride height was actually get out and push it. It was that extra weight of Sean there that had the ride height a little low. Good news is Sean doesn't have to do that anymore. He's light as a feather now. There you have it. A little inside story here. Dan Guerin, Justin Weaver, Brian Yosick, Andrew Kinsella, Adam Blocker, your top 5.
Yeah, lights are out on that pace car, so we're going green next time by.
Okay, I'm going to do this now under yellow flag because last time I botched it so much. With 23 to go, it's time to boogie. Get out your disco shoes. Start the mirror ball is spinning. Let's go racing here. That'll be 22 laps of racing when we go green. And with a 23-second laps, they will go by fast. Does Justin Weaver have anything for Dan Guerin? If he wants it, this would be a good opportunity right here on this restart. Guerin gets a good jump. Weaver falls about 4 or 5 car lengths back. Watch out for Yosick in that fluorescent blue HPP special. He's been really aggressive. The Moby Dickie's machine should have a good toe. It's the perfect length back. 3 car lengths, 2 car lengths, 1 car length, but it's that darn pesky Yosick. Wouldn't let him go to the outside. He pinned in the Moby Dickie machine, and he couldn't get the run. Now it's Yosick on the top side, moving up into second. Here comes Kinsella on the outside of row 2.
Yeah, Brian Yosick got a perfect run off that corner, getting the run. I mean, Justin Weaver, what is he going to do? He didn't give him the bottom, made him go around the outside, and he did it anyways. Right behind them, they got Andrew Kinsella. Andrew Kinsella and Adam Blocker battling it out. There's our championship leaders trying to get as many points as they can get. Dan Guerin will not give up that bottom like he has the whole race, so as long as he can hold that bottom, I think he's going to be safe.
Turn on the reggae music, baby. If you're going to pass me, you're going to have to do it high. Guerin protecting that inside line. Back there, it is Justin Weaver pinned back in the 3rd position. Yosick has him pinned behind the leader. Yosick in that HPP machine now tries to get a run. Another car on the inside is Blocker. Go.
I was going to say, I saw Andrew Kinsella looking for that 3rd lane. He almost went on the outside there, trying to make it 3 wide. So he's working that outside lane like he has this whole race.
The track is not going to be any wider on the last lap, but I think suddenly a 3rd lane will show up on the last lap. I just got a hunch. Guerin on the inside will stay with our leaders right now for the remainder of the race. Here comes somebody looking for the 3rd line. Have a catch. Kinsella up there, nowhere to go.
Yeah, he's looking to make this 3 wide. I think he's going to try it. Brian doesn't know what to do. You can see he's trying to get around Justin, squeeze him down. But then he has to move up to block Andrew. So this is definitely getting interesting. And definitely making it a little easier for Dan as he's holding that inside line and just keeping out in front. But man, I'll be impressed if Andrew can make that 3 wide pass and go right to the front. Here he goes. He's going to try it.
I almost wonder, though, if that's not the line that Yosick would like to take to get a good drive off the corners, to dive the car high down low, but he can't afford to leave the middle open because Kinsella will get in there, and then he'll be stuck on the high side. They almost get together, Guerin and Yosick, but they get it sorted out. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Guerin, Yosick, and Kinsella almost got together. That was almost the big one. So right now, Dan's kind of separated himself out. Now he can pick a lane, whatever he wants. The battle's going to be going for 2nd and 3rd between Yosick and Justin Weaver, and then here comes Andrew as well, trying to get to that 3rd position.
Richie, correct me if I'm wrong with 15 laps to go. I almost feel like Guerin doesn't want to have too big of a lead. It's almost like he's got to be careful. They'll get too much of a run on him. As I hear, we got Christopher. Is it going to bring out the yellow? He's in the wall. No, it doesn't, but he's stopped. He's off the racing line. Oh, it went sour for Stouffer.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He was having a really good run, running in 3rd place most of the time.
And was not a pun on Stouffer frozen dinners. Those are never sour. Those are delicious. I live on those.
Up front, we got Dan Guerin.
Here we go.
Yeah, still got that inside line. And, Brian's got a really good run. But, I mean, in order to make that pass you got to get next to him as you enter the corner. You can't do it if you're not all the way next to him like he is right now. But he's got to go the long way around, so that's what makes it tough.
Weaver falling back to fourth. Kinsella has a big run now. He's got plenty of space if he can get a run to get those guys up front. Look at Blocker with a run. Blocker up to fourth. The Moby Dicky machine sinking.
Yeah, Justin Weaver getting a little beat up, running up front a little bit, but he's definitely running strong. He's going to probably take the rookie point standing after tonight. But he's coming back up on Adam Blocker, so he's not giving up. Andrew's trying to hold off Blocker because that's his main rival for the points lead. And here comes Adam Blocker. He's stuck his nose and got on the inside of Andrew. Andrew does like that high line, so I don't think it's the end of the world for Andrew. He's made most of his passes going around the outside.
I think you came on a point. I think Justin Weaver might have used up a lot of his stuff right behind Guerin. Not only was he held on the low line, but he also had the push of the car in front of him. Now he gets up one more spot. Cousin Dupree in sixth position making himself known.
These guys are battling pretty strong. Up front, Dan's kind of separated out a little bit from Brian. So that battle is stopped a little bit. The real battle is going on for third place between Andrew Kinsella and Justin Weaver. Now, Justin Weaver proves us wrong as he's made himself back. He's worked himself back to third place.
Can you bring the tires back, Richie? If you heat them up, can they get angry and you have to settle down a little bit, if that's not the case?
Oh, absolutely. If you're really pushing the car and with the steering angle, and if you just kind of ease off a little bit, they'll come back. But a lot of this is just building the momentum. You can see how the draft, it just ebbs and flows, and you just got to find that perfect momentum, and that's going to propel you past that guy in front.
8 to go. Everybody say a prayer that we can get this one finished under green.
If we can go about 3 more laps, that would be the end of it, no matter what happens.
Real world time, it's about 4 minutes before midnight on the East Coast. Not a lot of East Coast drivers. There's a few of them here.
I'm impressed with Justin Weaver able to make his way past. He was behind Adam Blocker in fifth, and he's able to muscle his way past those two guys. And Andrew hasn't given up. He's looking to the high side once again. That's his favorite spot. But, Adam's kind of dropped off from this battle a little bit.
7 to go. Dandy Dan Guerin, he's had bad luck. I think he's finally got out from under it. I don't need to jinx him, but I think we're in good shape now.
Yeah.
Back though, the action is back in P6.
Yeah, big battle with Isaiah Dupree and Bob Mikas. And then they also have Matthew Mercer right behind them as well.
Really quiet race again from Mercer. Having a good run in 8th. Started in 25th spot. Way to go, Matty.
Yeah, great run. And right behind him, he's got Michael Goodman, who started 3rd but running 9th, so kind of worked the other way.
Let's go to 3rd. Kinsella looking on. Oh, did he blink? Is he there? Andrew Kinsella he's back. Whew. Blinked away from me, trying to make that topside pass.
He can't quite get it done. That's where he's made a lot of his passes, but obviously Justin Weaver still has some life in those tires to be able to hold that bottom lane all the way around.
We're past the point of no return. A yellow flag ends the race. Dan Guerin going to come across leading lap number 130, working 131, 3 to go.
And here comes Andrew Kinsella once again looking to the outside lane. First 2 guys are separated out. The battle's for 3rd right now.
This could be for the championship. Every point that Kinsella makes is one closer he can get to Adam Blocker, who races back in 5th position right now.
Yeah, that points battle is tight enough to where this could be a big difference maker as we come to the end. So he's definitely not giving up. Adam Blocker's kind of dropped off, so he's a little bit out of this battle.
Guerin comfortably out in front now as he comes around. Gets the white flag left. I learned anything from watching Bagger Vance a million times, it's each side of us is one perfect race. Something you're born with. Something that can't be taught or learned. Something that has to be remembered. And right now, Dan Guerin is having that perfect, authentic race as he works his way through 3 and 4. Let's go ahead and get the FISCH 200 to Dan Guerin.
Coming in second, it's going to be Brian Yazik. But Andrew Kinsella did get by Justin Weaver for that third spot, so that's big news in the points. But great job from these guys up front. Very, very clean race tonight.
That was a dang good one, and my goodness, there is justice. As clearly the best car here tonight, Dan Guerin, was deserving of the win, and he gets it. The racing is over here at Charlotte, but you know what I'm going to say next. The broadcast is far from over. We're going to take a short break, but we will be back to run down the entire HPP finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. Streaming cyberspace into your place via the iRacing Esports Network. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing channels and the Plasma Tracks Victory Lane post-race show. Hey, now listen up, because this is some important stuff. If you're struggling to find something for the person who has everything, and who isn't, I got the website for you, plasma-tracks.com. They not only produce original racetrack wall art, and it's really cool, they also do motorsports trophies, home decor, motorsport fabrications are also available. Words cannot do justice to the uniqueness of their wares. The only way to fully appreciate their artwork is to see it for yourself. But be warned, one visit and the next thing you know, you'll be trying to convince your spouse whoever he or she may be, why you need a plasma track wall art hanging in your home. Yes, you pay the rent. You should have a say in if it goes on the wall, but that's not how relationships work. You know that, and I know that. Go to plasma-.com, show your spouse what it's all about. Boy, and you got to get one of those things. Oh, wait, I got more to read here. Plasma-tracks.com. Use the promo code. This is important. This will be the selling point. This will be what convinces your spouse that you get one of these. LRS 2018. You get not 5, not 10, not 15, not 20, 25% off your order. And now, with that enthusiastic plug out of the way, let's go ahead and give you the HPP finishing order 10 at a time. It is Dandy Dan Guerin getting the win. He finishes 7/10 of a second ahead of Brian Yazik. Andrew Kinsella is going to gain a little bit on his competitors in the points race. Justin Weaver settles in fourth because Kinsella finishes third. Adam Blocker is in fifth. Rounding out the back half of your top 10, it's Isaiah Cousin Dupree. What a great run from him. 23rd to 6th. Bob Micus in 7th. Matthew Mercer, we barely touched on him. We mentioned what a great run he had. 25th to 8th. Nice job, Matty. Michael Goodman in 9th. 10th position is Brandon Lincoln. Richie?
Yeah, coming in 11th is Samuel Ryman. Great run for him from 21st to 11th. Connor Harrington, our pole sitter, ran up front, got caught out, unfortunately, by that untimely yellow. Is going to finish 12th. Ron Hacker in 13th. Brian Beard in 14th. Bart Workman 15th. Started 32nd to 15th. Good run for him. Joe Branch in 16th. Tony Showen in 17th. James Krahula 18th. George Anzaldo in 19th. And Scott Johnson rounds out the top 20.
Hard to take pride when you finish in the blackjack position or the double duck position, but when you do it on the lead lap, why not? Mitchell Moeller and Dylan McKenna, last two cars on the lead lap. In 23rd position, it's Big Joe Hassard. He's going to be inside. Hey, Mark Cohn making his series debut in 24th position. Tyler Graff behind him. Brian, it's not easy being Greenlee, our spotlighted driver. We did get it in before he ran into trouble. He comes home in 26 ahead of Peter Edwins and Ed King Tutwiler. 7 laps down was Pierre Neidendegla, and then in 30th position, Christopher.
And Dustin Wardlow finishes 31st, 16 laps down. The rest of these finishers ended their race early. Scott Bolster in 32nd, Robert Blue in 33rd, Stephen Larkamp, another bad run for him, unfortunately. I'm going to hit him in the rookie points. He's going to come home 34th. 4th, Chris Lanini and Jack Bogan round out the fields.
And now we get a chance to talk to our race winner. We'll go ahead and bring in Dandy Dan Guerin. I think we will, as I brought in Brian Yazik by mistake. Get Brian out of here. I don't want to talk to Brian Yazik. We're going to talk to Dan Guerin. There you go. If I talk to Yazik, I'll never get a word in edgewise. Here we go. Dandy Dan Guerin, congratulations. First win of the season. The jinx is over. Nice job.
Get this monkey off my back. Woo!
Man, you were comfortable out there. I don't know. Did you ever race in dirty air the whole night? I guess a few lapped traffic, maybe.
Oh, that was not comfortable at all. I don't know what you're talking about, Soup. Yeah, lap traffic was actually not too bad. I got stuck behind Ed for a few laps longer than I wanted to. Same with Brian, but they let me by. Still no problems there. Early on, behind Connor, he just left the door open just a little bit, entering 3, so I stuck my nose in there and took it from him and see what happened.
Okay, so that tight line that you raced basically an entire race, that couldn't have been the fast line around, but is this you could not, no matter what, you were not giving up the inside?
No. Do not give up that inside no matter what. I wasn't thrown into blocks so I could tell, but definitely playing some defense on that one for sure. And as I said, Connor left the door open just a little bit, and so I poked my nose in there. And getting late in the race there, Brian poked his nose out of 4 and scared the living daylights out of me because it had a little contact, but no ink. So, boy, it was a tough race for sure.
Yeah, we saw that one, and for a minute I go, man, God, the jinx hit him again, but luckily not. Let's talk about Connor Harrington, new to the series. Do you know him at all? He seems to be fast, at least on ovals.
Was in the series several seasons ago, so I do have a few races with him, and he is very fast. I'm not gonna lie, but he had that one pit stop there. He went in pit, and caution came out. And I've been there. I've had that luck. So,
according to our calculations, if he would have come out, we're talking about that pit stop. He came in, the yellow flag came out. He missed being ahead of you by just a few seconds. There was a chance he would have been out in front and you would have gone all the way around.
On the first set of pit stops here, the first set of green flag, he pit a lot sooner than I did. And he did come out ahead of me, but he was about 2 seconds out ahead of me, but he had traffic and I ran him down and ended up passing him on the high side and then started walking away from him there too. So I figured if he's going to get in front of me again, then that might be the same scenario, but how much time did I have to get to him?
Yeah, the second one happened. He came in and that yellow flag came out right when he came in and it was close. Hey, no matter what, I think the fastest car won. Congratulations on the win. Let's finish it out strong.
I just want to give a quick shout out to all my teammates, my family, Lock Precision, Midwest Simulations, and Drive for Suicide Prevention.
Thank you very much, Dan Guerin. Good sponsors indeed. And of course, Lock Precision, the sponsor of our race analysis. Fly hard, fly safe, fly lock. And now we'll let Richie Hearn talk to Brian Yazik, a much easier interview. Go ahead.
Brian, awesome run there. Started 8th, finished 2nd. Got pretty aggressive there at the end. A little contact with Dan. Tell us how your race went.
It was a great race for HPP Simulation, Loud Pedal Motorsports machine. Yeah, we started 8th, and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna ride, and then lap 1 or lap 2, the inside had a really big checkup, kind of like you'd see it like Daytona, Talladega, or something like that, and this thing just sailed right around the outside. I went, well, all right, so much for riding. But no, I got a 4X. I think it may have been in some net code or something like that, so that kind of hurt, but we didn't get any damage. Lead was just so powerful. Clean air was everything. Once I was trying to see if I could get Dan to pinch his or burn his tire off, right front tire off a little bit by trying to keep him down there and really not let him float out of the corner. But once he got away, you could just mirror drive and that was it. So that's all. You run the middle of the track and it kills both lanes behind him. So, but I'm happy for Dan. Don't get me wrong. He's overdue for one of these things this year.
Yeah, he's definitely had some bad luck, and he was fast. He was not giving up that inside lane to save for anything. And were the tires wearing off a little bit? Like if you run on the bottom all the time, were you struggling on the tires, or was it pretty good the whole way through?
Tires fell off. It hit a cliff about lap 10, lap 15, somewhere in that ballpark where even if you were running the top to try and get some clean air to the front wing, you'd have to start pedaling it and lifting and trying to diamond it a little bit and try a whole bunch of different things. So I don't know. It was what it was.
That was a nice clean race, a little different than last week. We had a lot of yellows, so a lot of green flag running. The yellow flag at the end kind of caught out Connor Harrington and Chris Stouffer out, so that took them out of the mix and just kind of left you with basically there's 5 of you racing for the 5 of you racing for the lead. So it was pretty exciting there, Brian. Anything you'd like to say?
No, just thanks to George and everybody that puts this deal on. GSRC, iRacing, HPP Simulation, best pedals out there in SimRacing. Loud Pedal Motorsports for we're having a rough year this year, but we're still digging at it. Amsoil by Adam Plattel, clipping that Apex. We got all sorts of sponsors on this whips and in the league, and just thanks everybody that makes the gears go around. It's a really fun league.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll be excited going to Phillip Island. That should be a good race, so we look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, I've always had pretty decent runs there. So I think last 2 years I've gotten top 5. So we'll just have to keep digging.
Awesome, Brian. Great job.
Thank you.
Brian Yazik, our second place finisher today, a fine race, sim race driver. And if you've never had the opportunity to have him to listen to a broadcast that he's on GSRC, he doesn't get to do many of them because of his real world schedule. Man, with those pipes and his ability to be articulate, he is a very good broadcaster. Hopefully get him on board for a few more. Let's go ahead and talk to, it's the man who closed the gap to his rival, Adam Blocker, our third place finisher. Andrew, have a catch, Kinsella. Andrew, little by little, you started 18th, you worked your way up, found yourself a podium. And he's not there. He was what he was going to say was Soup. Yes, what I wanted to do was work hard to get up here, and then I would take my time, bide my time, and come back. And now we've lost Andrew altogether. We'll give him one more second to come back in. What he's trying to do, he's just changing his clothes right now so he can look good. Now he's back. He's coming, and he'll be here in a minute. Let's go ahead and bring him back in one more time. Take a shot at it. Hey, Andrew, let's try this again. You got a copy this time? Oh, that's too bad. Well, I'll talk for you. First of all, I know you had a great race. You worked hard. You played it safe. It's going to help Dan Blocker, your teammate. It's a good night for Adrenaline Motorsports. Congratulations on a good run for you and your team, and you've closed the gap, and I know that you're going to do great at Phillip Island. All right, that was Adam Blocker, our third-place finisher today. And with that said, it's Adam Kinsella. Thank you, our third-place finisher today. And as there are nobody else ready to talk to us, that means that I get to close up shop before I make any more mistakes. So let's do this now and thank some people that made this possible. We'll start with the good folks at First Medical Equipment. They've been the source of medical supplies and equipment in the Burlington, Iowa area for years because of their superior commitment to provide the absolute best in product quality and customer service. Richie?
And Butt Kicker products add instant immersion to any game. Unlike a subwoofer that moves air and loses accuracy and force, Butt Kicker products move actual mass, producing a haptic immersion that's powerful and accurate. Butt Kicker products add that missing driver-to-car connection, bringing more realism and immersion to your sessions. See all the family of products at thebuttkicker.com. Use the promo code LION20 to get 20% off your next order.
Give you haptic immersion for your butt. Here's one that gives you haptic immersion for your feet. How about HPP Simulations? When it's time to go sim racing, nothing beats the feel of a true hydraulic braking system from HPP Simulations, designed and manufactured in the USA on state-of-the-art CNC equipment, HPP hydraulic pedals and their accessories set the standard for simulation racing. For more information, please visit www.hppsimulation.com. Mr. Hearn.
To contact any of the sponsors you see on the screen right now, go to the Lionheart, or not the Lionheart, go to LionheartRacingSeries.com. Click on 2018 sponsors. Read or scroll to the bottom where you can click on the company logo.
On the screen right now are just some of the company's equipment and software that made this broadcast possible. How about the iconic music that lets your ears alert your eyes? You know, your ears say, hey, eyes, you're watching a GSRC production. Well, that's courtesy of Eric Echolm and June Lalonde. See the screen to how to contact each of them.
The Lionheart IndyCar Series returns in 2 weeks, Wednesday, October 10th, for the American Cancer Society Grand Prix of Phillip Island. GSRC via the iRacing Esports Network will be there to bring you all the action. We hope you join us. Sliding across your screen right now are some upcoming broadcasts, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about the GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it all at the www.globalsimracingchannel.com. We are also on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. And if you're not already a GSRC YouTube channel subscriber, you can become one by simply visiting the YouTube channel and hitting that subscribe button.
Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, my late mother's favorite real-world IndyCar driver, Richie Hearn, my existing living 95-year-old mother-in-law's favorite sim racer, Amjad Yaman, and Dougie Beard, who none of my family know. I'd like to thank all of them for on their behalf. I'd like to thank all of you for watching this broadcast. I hope you enjoyed it here on the iRacing Esports Network. And we hope that if you didn't, we'll try again next time. With that said, we're off to have fun, storm of the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.